We've got the OPEC meeting. It's fast approaching next week. What do you think investors should be taking note of? And how do you think and which commodities are going to be impacted on the back of it?
Well, I have learned you have to pay a little bit of attention to OPEC, but not that much. They don't have that big of influence. Supply demand is much, much, much more important. They can affect supply and demand, of course, so you have to watch it. But the basic fundamentals are known reserves of oil are in decline and have been for some time, including Saudi Arabia's known reserves. And that means that the price of oil is going to continue to be tight and under pressure. We had a fracking for a while, but the fracking bubble has popped. We still have fracking, but people now realize, they have to make money. You can't just spell fracking and get rich. You got to do something. You got to make money. So it was a bubble that brought more supply onto the market. But the bubble has popped, it's still around. But in the meantime, known reserves of oil and natural gas continue to decline.
So in terms of, silver and gold and other precious metals, you've mentioned even their agriculture. But how much do you think there is, left to run? Do you think we're going to see 1,800 for gold, 2,000?
Oh, no, before this is over. Oh, my gosh, Charlie, before this is over. Gold and silver will both surprise us all. I mean, silver has sold at $50 twice in the last 50 years, 100 years. Silver is now $17. So 50 is a long way away, but it's happened before. So 50 certainly would not be unusual if supply and demand get out of whack and people get terrified of inflation or the end of the world. So no, these prices are certainly happen again. Now, 50 from here is a triple. People usually are very excited about triples, including me. if I can find something that's going to triple, I sure want to know about it. But it will certainly happen to silver before this is over. And gold will certainly, gold's all-time high is what, 2,000, 2,100 or so. It's only down 10 or 15% from its all-time high. But gold will make magnificent new highs before this is over. Throughout history, when people give up hope on their governments or money, they always buy gold and silver. They've been doing it for hundreds of years. There are many academics, gold and silver you should forget about. Charlie, I'm an old peasant. And all of us old peasants know that when things go wrong, we want to have some gold in the closet. We want to have some silver under the bed because we don't care what the politicians and the school teachers say. We want to have some gold and silver. And I'm an old peasant. I'm going to get more gold and silver because I know things will go very badly wrong again someday. And I know how to protect myself.
I saw this morning in relation to the US and stocks. I saw there's been a sell-off and a decrease in a lot of US stocks this morning on the back of earnings. What's your opinion on that?
Well, just what markets are. If earnings go down, stocks go down. It's pretty simple. It's not that direct always, obviously, but by and large, if earnings go down, stocks are going to be weak. If earnings are very strong, stocks are going to be strong. We've had a lot of money printing, and we have strong earnings at the moment, but that seems to be peaking, if you ask me. And we're getting close to the end of this long bull market. This bull market has been the longest in U.S. history. I'll use the U.S. since it's the largest. It's been 13 years now. If you go on 33 years, who knows? It doesn't have to end after the longest in history, but it is the longest in history. So we're certainly on a historic basis getting closer and closer to the end. And I see enough signs that say to me, the end is coming and it's going to be bad.
We've seen a real increase in clients, opening accounts and looking at derivatives to short markets to hedge risk. What's your feedback on that?
Well, hedging risk, the words are perfectly valid, legitimate, smart words. If people know what they're doing, hedging risk is always a smart thing to do, no matter what, as long as you know what you're doing and as long as you get it right. Yes, hedging risk. Charlie, if you can teach your clients to hedge risk and do it right, they will love you forever if you do it right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, here at Vantage, on the back of the pandemic and COVID, we've seen a real increase in new traders, younger traders. I think given everything that's going on around the world with war, with obviously inflation, we've seen a real scare and a panic amongst these traders. Any advice to new traders starting out who are obviously, concerned about the future of the markets?
Oh, Charlie, I mean, I've seen this movie before. At the end of long bull markets, a lot of new investors come into it. They call their friends and say, "Oh, I've discovered this new thing called the stock market. It's fun and you can make money and it's easy. It's easy." And I mean, as I say, I've seen this movie before. But then there comes a time when it's not so easy and they all get burned and they get hurt and they move on to other things. And many of them never come back until their children come back. They come into the next, generation of bull markets. My advice to them is very strictly, do not invest in anything unless you yourself know a lot about it. Everybody knows a lot about something, whether it's cars or fashion or something. Stay with what you know if you want to succeed in the investment business. And they say, of course, "Oh, that's boring. Give me a hot tip. I want a hot tip. I want to get rich this week." Well, I want to get rich this week too, but I've learned that hot tips will ruin you. And so my urgent advice to all of them is, please stay away from hot tips. Please stay away from hot tips. Please invest only in what you know. And if you don't know anything to invest in, just wait. Do nothing. Be patient. Wait until you do find something you know about and then invest. But they all say that's too boring. I would urge everybody to pay attention to Vantage because, we're going to have some very difficult times ahead of us, and everybody should get knowledgeable, because if you get knowledgeable, you're going to get worried. And if you get worried, you're going to get prepared, and you'll probably come through this okay. There were many people who came out of the 30s very, very rich, very successful, because they knew what was going on and understood what was going on. So we're going to have difficult times again, and I urge everybody to watch Vantage or whoever and be prepared, because if you're ready, you're going to be very successful. If you're not ready, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer badly.